Hi everyone, this is the Hey Eric podcast, and today I wanted to do a market update for the Wasatch Front. I know I haven't done one of these for a while, but a lot's been changing, and things have been changing, but things are still the same. And so this market update, usually I do year over year. I'm going to do it for August, but I'm also going to go over the last 4 years. So pre-pandemic in 2019, through the pandemic, and where we are currently. Because right now, as the Fed fights inflation, they're doing a lot they're increasing rates, which is affecting mortgage rates, which is definitely slowing, buying, whether it's houses, automobiles, everything. That's how they're trying to curb inflation, is by slowing spending, and they do that by raising borrowing costs. So we're going to look at some data today. Mostly, it's all for August, but it's August 2022. August 2021, August 2020, and August 2019. So let's dive right in, and thanks again for joining me. So if you look here on our screen, you'll see my red cursor, and when I've been talking about the Fed raising rates, and when people ask me in person what's happening, I'm saying things are slowing back down to what they were pre-pandemic. What happened during the pandemic, 2020 and 2021, was a whole bunch of quantitative easing. The Fed started doing this after the Great Recession, and because essentially the economy screeched to a halt because we shut everything down, we technically had a recession at the beginning of the pandemic. Q2 and Q3 of 2020 were a recession. And so the Fed started their quantitative easing. They lowered rates, they added more money to the money system. And so that pushed spending, that increased people to propensity to spend money. They also, they gave out PPP loans, the EIDL loans to all these businesses, which encouraged more spending. So there's just a ton of money in the marketplace, and that gave a lot of confidence to humans, to the American public. So we went out and bought houses. We bought, there's a big stock frenzy, all that sort of stuff happened. And now, as as inflation started coming in about a year ago, and they were calling it transitory, and then it became worse last month. I think it was 8.5%. The Fed has slowly tried to slow down that spending. So we want to track that on here. So days on market, if you look at that, 2019, we were at 22 median days on market. So, and this data that I'm looking at is for it's the Wasatch Front. And when I do that, I'm doing Utah County, Salt Lake County, Davis County, and Weber counties. So it's that whole Wasatch Front I-15 corridor. The median days on market in 2019 were 22 days on market. Guess what? That's what we're back to now in 2022. And while people are thinking or saying everything's sitting on market for so many days, our median days on market is what it was before the pandemic. 7 days on market is a median. That's what's crazy. That's what's, that was absolutely insane. And so now we're just getting back to where things were in a healthy market pre-pandemic. Looking at total sales. So the total sales for the month over the last 4 years. So in 2019, we're at just almost under 4,000. In 2020, we were over 4,000, 4,183. In 2021, we were 3,660. And this year, 2,761. So sales have definitely fallen off. And what's causing that? Increased borrowing costs. A lot of people moved during the last year or two, so they're not as likely to move now. People are worried about a coming recession. We've already had two negative GDP quarters. So I think a lot of people put the brakes on, waiting to see what's about to happen. But that's because finally we're doing some tightening on the monetary policy that the Fed's enacting now. Let's look at list price, and we can see these days on markets in these graphs below. So here's the days on market that dipped and went back up. Here's our general price increase, and we're going to go over price next. And here's our total sales. So once again, compared to pre-pandemic, it's about 1,100 units lower this August compared to 2019. List price, this is median list price back in 2019 across the Wasatch Front, 340,000. 2020, 365. 2021, 149,900. So about $450,000, and then 2022 about $530,000. That is a ton of increase or appreciation, change in that list price. Sold price followed about the same, so 331,000, 368,000 in 2022, 460,000 2021, and then this August we were at 505,000. And one thing I do want to point out is the list of sold. So that shows like how active the market is, how competitive it might be, if people are overpricing, if people are underpricing, things like that. So, and usually they always track pretty close. And you can see it in the graph over here. List of sold. So sold was $9,000 under the list price. That's pretty typical. Sometimes there's multiple offers, etc. But usually they come in slightly below list price. That's pretty average in real estate. In 2020 and 2021, we know that wasn't the case. We know because people were moving, the market in Utah became more competitive because our economy was more open. We had a lot of people moving here from out of state, Texas, California, etc. So in 2020, our list to sold was actually $3,000 above for the median home price along the Wasatch Front. In 2022, it was even more. It was $10,000 more. Our list of sold price. So, and that's very unnormal, but that's what happened in 2021. People were, out there buying everything, and then we saw, about a little under a year ago, things eased up a little bit, and then they got going super heavy again in December and January, which was really interesting. And now in 2022, we see, people were still pricing their homes this summer as the market started to ease up. People are still pricing their homes like it was January of this year, February this year, when things were still very aggressive in the real estate market. And we've had a lot of price drops recently. And I know people always bring that up to me. And so now we can see this list of sold price because they were pricing aggressively as if it was last year. But now we have a $25,000 difference, sold price being lower than list price. And I expect that to creep together as sellers start to realize they need to list in reality rather than fantasy world. When they realize that it's not January of last year, it's not the middle of 2021 when there was multiple offers on everything. If you're looking to sell, pricing is one of the most important things to do to help sell your house for the most money. Overpricing usually doesn't help with that. But last, let's look at these sold price percentage changes. So this is year over year percentage changes. So basically it's the appreciation, the median price appreciation across the Wasatch Front. So this one, 11.2%, that is the change between 331,000 and 368,000. So between 2020 and 2019, we had 11% appreciation, which is insane. Typical, you're probably seeing 3 to 5% along the Wasatch Front. Between 2020 and 2021, it was 25% appreciation. These are only August numbers, so remember that. Over the year, they're going to average differently. So I know this one would be averaged down a little bit closer to 18%, and this other one would average up a little bit. And then between 2021 and 2022, 9.8% appreciation. So we've seen a little bit of compression as the market slowed. But still, and granted, the annual averages are going to be a little bit different than these, but this is just showing the August numbers. So from August 2022 back to August 2019, our total price appreciation in the median home price along the Wasatch Front has been 52.6%. That's absolutely insane. We've been having all this demand here in Utah because we have a great economy, we have a great outdoor community, we have a great state, and that has helped cause this price appreciation. And now as things have changed in the market, as rates have gone up, as buyer demand has slowed down, as sellers have had to lower prices because they weren't priced in reality, we're seeing, I'd say, a slight compression of some of this appreciation. And I think we're probably going to continue to see that. I think, as the Fed continues to be aggressive on interest rates, they're going to slow the market more. They need to slow all this to get inflation down. And by the time this releases, I'm recording this on Monday, September 12th, inflation numbers are going to be released tomorrow on the 13th. So we should have an idea of where we're going in respects to, are there going to be more interest rate rises? Because rates are still pretty good. I had a friend lock one, or they just closed on an investment property. So this is an investment rate, which is typically higher than like your personal rate for yourself. They closed at 5.1% for an investment property. So that's really good. A couple of years ago in 2019, when I bought an investment property, I think we got like 4.25, maybe a little bit more, and that was in the lower rate environment. So, rates for buyers, they're still really good historically, and so it's a good opportunity right now. While all these sellers are having to take price reductions and then price it in reality, it's a good opportunity for buyers to find some good deals. But aside from that, I want to comment that the market's still good. It's still a seller's market. A seller's market is anything under 6 months of inventory. And right now we're floating around 3.5 months of inventory on the market. So if everyone stopped listing their home right now, it would take about 3 to 3.5 months to sell all those homes. So and that's about what it was pre-pandemic. So to me, we're not, this real estate market in Utah is not crashing. It is normalizing back to what it was pre-pandemic, before the Fed started all their crazy quantitative easing, and before, things just got crazy with people wanting to come to Utah at a hyper rate because of our open economy, because of all that sort of thing. But overall, thanks for watching. This is just the market update, through COVID. Don't worry. Real estate in Utah has a great future still. So if you have any more questions, reach out to me. My information's below, and go to heyeric.com if you want a free market report.